Just let me know, okay, then and there if it is not visible.
Respiration is a process through which energy stored in organic molecules is released for growth and other life processes. During respiration, organic food breaks down into simpler substances and liberates carbon dioxide and energy. Respiration that requires oxygen is called aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration takes place inside the mitochondria. The respiration that does not require molecular oxygen is called anaerobic respiration. This process occurs in the cytoplasm of the cells. In this experiment, we shall look at the release of carbon dioxide gas during aerobic respiration by plants and human beings. Respiration in plants. To do the experiment, we require a test tube, a beaker containing distilled water, germinating seeds of bean, a cork with a hole, a conical flask, measuring cylinder, freshly prepared potassium hydroxide solution, petroleum jelly, thread, and a glass delivery tube with two bends at right angles.
So this is delivery tube is very important, and the name of the tube is U-shaped delivery tube. So why it is called as U-shaped? Since you can see the structure also, it is in the U letter, in the form of the U letter. So what happens, whatever the content is there, whatever the liquid is there, whatever the chemical is there, it starts moving from one end to the other end. That is why it is called as a delivery tube.
Procedure. Using a spatula, place about 30 germinating bean seeds in a conical flask. Pour 4 ml of potassium hydroxide solution into a measuring cylinder. Transfer the potassium hydroxide solution from the measuring cylinder into a small test tube. Tie a cotton thread around the neck of the test tube. Suspend the test tube in the conical.
So after this, after taking the seeds, what we should do, we have to take the KOH solution, which is potassium hydroxide solution. We have to take in the test tube, and then with the help of the thread, we have to tie it or we have to hang it inside the conical
Flask above the germinating seeds. Close the mouth of the conical flask with a
And once we have tied it, we have to close the mouth of it so that air cannot get passed.
cork. Insert one end of the delivery tube into the conical flask through the cork and dip the other in a beaker containing water.
Now, what they have done with the help of the U-shaped tube, they have inserted one end into the conical flask and the second end into the water. Now, what happens since the seeds are there, they will start. What is the function of the KOH? What is the function of KOH? To absorb?
Oxygen.
Not oxygen, to absorb CO2. Yeah. So the KOH which is present there, what they will be doing, they will be absorbing the whole amount of the CO2.
Observe the position of the water level in the delivery tube. This is the initial reading of the water level in the delivery tube. Use your finger to take some petroleum jelly. Then apply the petroleum jelly on the cork to make the apparatus airtight. Keep the apparatus
So already we have discussed about the Vaseline, why the Vaseline is being used so as to make the air setup tight, so that air cannot pass inside or go outside.
Disturbed for 2 hours. After 2 hours, you will see that the level of water has risen in the delivery tube at the end, dipped in the beaker of water. Note this level as the final level. The germinating seeds in the conical flask release carbon dioxide during respiration, which is absorbed by the potassium hydroxide solution kept in the small test tube. This creates a partial vacuum in the flask.
Now, understood. See what happened. The germinating seeds, they are releasing the CO2, and that CO2 which is released by them will be absorbed by the KOH. And when they start absorbing the CO2, then a vacuum will be created in the whole delivery tube, and because of that, the water level in the beaker will start rising up. So initially, maybe the level of the water was 50 ml. So later on, it becomes 60 or 65 ml, depending upon the surroundings.
And it forces the water up the delivery tube. Thus, it proves that germinating seeds produce carbon dioxide during
So this is what we can explain for the respiration in plants. So during which the CO2 they will be releasing.
respiration. Precautions. Ensure all connections are airtight. The freshly prepared concentrated solution of potassium hydroxide solution should not be kept for later use. Respiration in humans. To do the experiment we require freshly prepared lime water, a cork with 2 holes, 2 glass tubes bent at right angles, and a boiling tube. Procedure. Pour freshly prepared lime water into the boiling tube so that it is 3/4 full. Take a cork with 2 holes and fix it into the mouth of the boiling tube. Insert the glass tubes, let us name them A and B, into the boiling tube through the cork so that the end of glass tube A dips in the lime water. Breathe out air with full force by putting your mouth at the end of tube A. Continue doing this vigorously for at least 1 minute. The bubbles of the air breathed out gradually turn the lime water milky. The only gas that can turn lime water milky is carbon dioxide. When carbon dioxide reacts with lime water, it forms calcium carbonate.
So understood. So as we keep on passing the carbon dioxide into the solution of the lime water, limestone, so starts turning milky, and they form a precipitate called as the calcium
Thus
carbonate.
giving lime water the milky appearance. So, we can conclude that both plants and human beings produce carbon dioxide during respiration. Precautions. Use freshly prepared lime water. Breathe out air for at least 1 minute.
So understood, children, how we are supposed to do this experiment?
Yes,
These two are very, very important experiment for your exam. I think all the videos are off now, except mine. Turn on the videos, children. So, during a board practical exam also, one of the practical will be asked this one. Okay. So to show how the CO2 is released either in the plants, either in the animals. If it in the plants, then you have to take the seeds and you have to use the KOH solution for the hanging. And at the same time, what happens? The level of the water will rise up. And for the second way, here actually they have used only one tube. But actually, when you do it in the lab, I don't know, but when I do it, when I ask the children to do it, I ask them to do with both the things. One is with the directly straw with the straw. They have to release the CO2 in the lime water, and the second side, I use them to do it with the help of the syringe also. So then to make them clear, what's the difference actually? So when we pass the CO2, what happens to the lime water, and when we does not pass the CO2, what happens to it? So you can do it at home also. The limestone you can get it and you can just try doing it. The instead of the test tube, you can just do it in maybe in a glass or maybe some other transparent material you can just work on, and you will be able to see these changes. So limestone will be forming the calcium carbonate, whereas in the when we have where we have used a syringe, here the calcium carbonate will not be formed. Clear, children? Shayan, Aryan, Shudamshu, Meher, Dhairya, Shubhansh.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we'll start now the next one. Next topic, which is the transportation. So when we talk about the transportation, we know very, very clearly that it means that something has to travel from one part to the other part, right? So in humans, through the blood, this whole process will happen, right? So if some nutrients has to pass, they have to pass by using the blood. If any gases has to be passed, they have to pass using the blood. So blood plays a very, very important role in all these. So blood plays a very, very important role for these transportation system. And along with this, okay, so let us start. Transportation. So transportation means the movement of something. If I talk about the human body, it is the movement of the oxygen, movement of the nutrients, movement of the hormone, right? So oxygen has to be transferred, the nutrients have to be transferred from one part to the other parts, then hormones have to be transferred from one part or the other parts. So like this, there are so many other substances also which has to be transported from one part to the other parts. And that will be carried out by the system which is called as the circulatory system. Fine. So this will be carried out by a system called as the circulatory system. So in humans, transportation of oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and other substances to the tissue. So they will be transferring it to the tissues, Then they will be giving it to maybe to the CO2 to the lungs. So CO2 will be going to the lungs, and waste products, where they have to transfer, where they have to transport the waste products. Waste products to the, where the waste product should go, it has to go to
Kidney.
the kidneys. Okay, so the oxygen, nutrients, and hormones will have to go to the tissues, CO2 should go to the lungs, and the waste product should go to the kidney. So all these things will be carried out by a well is carried out by a well defined system called as circulatory system. Called as circulatory system. Clear, children? So oxygen, nutrients, hormones to the tissues, CO2 to the lungs, and then waste products to the kidney. They all will be transported by the circulatory system. The circulatory system, it involves four components with it. The first one is blood. Fine. The second one are the blood vessels. Third one is the heart. And the fourth one are the limbs. So these are the four components which are included in the circulatory system. So note it down, children, this definition and then the four components. Done, children?
Wait, ma'am.
Okay. Others, be attentive today. Dhairya, what happened to you? Dhairya, Shubhan, Shayan, Meher, what happened?
My net is very low today.
Okay.
Nothing, ma'am.
I think I should ask your mother now to get it rectified then, Shubhansh.
I also that's why I joined late
Ma'am, you
because
can
it
wait.
was not working today.
Okay. And if they ask you about the
I'm still
circulatory
waiting.
system, okay, still you are right. Write it.
Completed.
Now, shall we go to the next one?
Wait, ma'am.
Okay. So one by one, we'll be studying about these four different components which are included in the circulatory system: blood, blood vessels, heart, and lymph.
None, ma'am.
Okay. Now the first one, what we are going to start with is the blood. So what kind of tissue blood is? Nervous tissue, muscular tissue, connective tissue, epithelial tissue. What kind
Connective
of tissue
tissue.
it is?
Liquid connective tissue.
Connective tissue, ma'am.
Connective tissue. Why it is connective tissue? Why we call blood as a connective tissue?
Because it contains vital parts, uh, like oxygen, then
No,
hemoglobin.
no, no.
Then
See, in the word itself, they are saying connection, right? So what it does, it is called as connective tissue because it helps in connecting the different kinds of the cells or different kinds of the components in the body. Right? So it's again a very, very important question for the 1 mark. Okay, 1 mark, they can ask you why the blood is called as connective tissue. So blood is described as a connective tissue because it provides one of the means of transportation between the cells of different parts of a body. So a connection they will be providing between the different cells of a body and the external environment So hence that is the reason it is called as the connective tissue. Then this blood is also called as seat of the soul. It is also called as seat of the soul because it performs several vital functions. So whatever the important functions are there, it will be performed by the blood. So that is why it is also called as the seat of the soul. Dear children, why it is called as seat of the soul? Because it performs the vital function. It means very, very important functions which are important for our body. It performs.
Done, ma'am.
So I hope children you all have done with this. And so now next